Some quick updates on UVA football on the injury status report area from Coach Tony Elliott, talking about Kam Robinson, McKale Boley, Corey Thomas. Chris Graham here, Augusta Free Press. So the UVA football depth chart for the Week 3 game with Maryland, which is set for prime time on Saturday night with Maryland coming into town in Scott Stadium. That depth chart has linebacker Kam Robinson and left tackle McKale Boley listed as starters, but it doesn't sound like that it's a given that either will be on the field, according to Coach Tony Elliott, who says that Kam is a little bit limited with a knee sprain, and Boley, who's been dealing with an ankle sprain since the last couple of weeks of training camp, is still day to day. Now, with Robinson, he had 5 tackles and a sack in just 20 snaps before leaving with that knee injury in the second quarter of the 31-30 win at Wake Forest on Saturday night. Elliott says it's just more of getting to a point of being able to deal with the pain tolerance. That was a quote from Elliott. Now, Boley was the projected starter coming out of training camp at left tackle, which is it's the important, most important job on the line when you have a right-handed quarterback. That's your blind spot, as they call it. The word on Boley is he's out. He's moving around. We're hopeful we'll get him back here pretty soon. Pretty soon doesn't sound like Saturday night, if you ask me, but we'll have more on the situation as far as his replacement in a second. One other injury update, cornerback Corey Thomas was back in practice, and he's a full go for Saturday night, according to Elliott. Thomas had 5 tackles and a pretty impressive 63.7 Pro Football Focus grade in 47 snaps in the win at Wake. Got hurt late in that game. So as far as a potential replacement for Kam Robinson, if he's out, Robinson is him and Jonas Sank are the 2 key players on his defense. It would be obviously a big loss not to have him on the field. But Trey McDonald played pretty well in Robinson's stead Saturday night. 9 tackles, a sack, 4 QB pressures, and a 60.9 PFF grade in his 66 snaps. And that sack was a game changer. Wake was up 30-24 with 7:20 to go. And Coach Dave Clawson decided to try to convert a 4th and 9 from the UVA 36. McDonald fought through a double team and sacked quarterback Hank Bachmeier for an 8-yard loss. So not only, breaking up the 4th down conversion attempt, but putting Virginia in even better field position for what would become the game-winning score on a 56-yard drive. Ended with that Grady Brosterhouse Grady Bunch play at the 1-yard line with 2:07 to go. So, big sack, changed the momentum of the game and got Virginia in winning position. Elliott said McDonald, who's a junior, got a ton of reps in training camp just because starting middle linebacker James Jackson was limited at the outside of camp as he recovered from all-season surgery. So he took advantage, did McDonald, of that extra time. Quote from Elliott, "I don't know if there's a more fierce competitor on our team than Trey McDonald. He's extremely physical. He's very, very smart. And now he's really starting to be able to come into his own because he's getting the physical reps." So if Robinson's not available, not a bad option there behind, and McDonald's already proven he can do the job. Another next man up is Jack Whitmer. He has had to step in the last couple of weeks for McKale Boley, the projected starter at left tackle. Now, Whitmer is an interesting story. He's a senior who only got on the field in 1 game in his first 3 years at UVA, and that was back in 2022. He was a tight end, a 6'7", 250-pound tight end. Again, could only get on the field for 1 game in 3 years. And going into the spring, Coach Elliott asked Whitmer if he would consider transitioning from tight end to offensive line. That would mean putting some weight on. He's at 6'7", 250. That's, that sounds big, and it is in real life, right? But on a football field, that's not lineman size. So he had to put close to 50 pounds on, which he did. And he has played really, really well at this position that he's just now learning to play as a senior in college. He has in 2 games and 118 snaps total, a 70.5 PFF grade, and he played all 73 snaps in the win at Wake. So went all the way in that win. Elliott said the coaching staff has been challenging the 6'7" Whitmer to use his size of his advantage, dating back to his time as a tight end. And then we had to move him to a position where it's basically hand-to-hand combat every single play. Quote, but he embraced it. He went to work. He transformed his body, Elliott said, got into the playbook. It's a little bit different going from perimeter. When you're the tight end, you line up, outside, but in the slot, and you're still blocking, but it's different. Now you're in the box, and you're not only learning left tackle, but you've got to know right tackle also to give us flexibility. Like a lot of programs, Virginia tries to cross-train its guys as much as possible in case of injuries. Obviously, with McKale Boley being out. Elliott said he's really, really proud of the investment that Whitmer's put into the group, to the UVA football team. And he said, you kind of wonder, okay, here's a guy that's a skill guy. Tight ends, that's called a skill position because you got to be able to catch the ball, run, and all that kind of stuff. Plus, tight end, you got to be a pretty good blocker. Now he's going to the offensive line room because each position has a different temperament, and he's fit right in with the guys. So it's been a very valuable thing for this UVA football program, Jack Whitmer, in his play. And he sounds like McKale Boley's probably going to be out again this weekend, so we're going to need to see Whitmer step up and play another solid game at left tackle for UVA. Hey, we'll have more on this game, previewing Virginia, Maryland coming up this week. And in the meantime, if you have any questions for me, any news tips, anything you want us to look into heading into UVA Maryland, please feel free to drop me an email at chris@augustafreepress.com.